about them facts. How you doing? With everything that's going on with these Epstein files and all these kids that been missing, and the rumor is that Michael Jackson was falsely accused. I was just curious because I saw that Candace had an opinion about it. I don't, she's had a couple of opinions, but let's check it out. They was talking about, oh, I got some in my ear. Let me cut this down. Some things have happened tonight on the case with a few updates. Come on. And been seeing a lot of people giving their victims, child victims. Said Michael Jackson saved them. Blowing my mind. And then the people who actually have done some things, they want to act like they want to remove them from the paperwork. They want to hide and protect and all of that type of stuff. Hold on, I was listening to something before I cut this on. Let me go back a little bit before I jump in on her take on Michael Jackson. I hope and pray that things will catch up with them. Let me see this.
Legal reporter Lisa Rubin. So Lisa, walk us through
that's what
exactly
we saw
what we
earlier.
know and what we don't know.
Well, let's start with what we know. Chris, we know that at some point in the
Is it possible accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein had secret storage lockers and units hiding incriminating evidence or possible blackmail material, and authorities just never searched them? We are breaking down the emails and the financial records that may suggest the deceased financier was storing away all these materials and potentially even wiping digital materials too, which could, by the way, explain why the feds say they have no evidence to go after anybody else. But with these revelations, what could
a lot coming
now?
out for them to say that they didn't do nothing.
I'm Jesse Weber.
They didn't do nothing.
I gotta say something as we're covering these stories. Staying on top of the news is so important, but with all of the media bias these days, who knows what to believe?
That's
so I
true.
want to introduce you right now to a great sponsor, Straight Arrow News. Straight Arrow News is a
Who
personalized
knows
news
what to
platform that
believe?
gives
You got to
readers
stay on
facts.
top of the
Would make sense, right? As to skip the drama, add an insane, another bizarre angle out of the Epstein
and
file.
it's a
Skip
trip
the drama,
that
get the facts.
Jeffrey
Welcome
Epstein
back
had
to
Michael
Trustworthy
Jackson
Journalism.
in
Got
the
another
Epstein
bizarre angle out of
reports,
the Epstein.
speaking about how he did not like him because he was deterring Macaulay Kirkland, was that his name, from coming to Epstein Island. The little Home Alone boy. He was about to get on a plane to go to the island, and Michael Jackson said no. Come to Neverland. You don't ever have to go over there and worry about being victimized. Oh, man. Let's see what they're talking about, because some stuff is popping off right now before we get into Michael.
We have this other episode coming
Cynthia.
out of whether or not Jeffrey Epstein had an incinerator on his New Mexico property to potentially destroy evidence. You can check that one out. But now, there is an allegation, based on reporting primarily by The Telegraph, that the deceased financier and convicted sex offender hid evidence from U.S. authorities in storage lockers all around the country. Okay, and we're talking computers, photographs, including
all
material
around the
mainly
country
from his little St. James Epstein Island. Now, if this is true, that would make sense, right, as to why the FBI has said in the files that they don't have evidence of photos or videos of other people abusing girls or women. So that would be a major revelation if true. And again, Remember, when we talk about the Epstein files, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the DOJ just turned over everything in their possession.
No.
Maybe they didn't have in their possession what was in the storage lockers. If that's true, it becomes a question of why. But this, again, what we're about to go through is a major potential revelation if true. And the obvious question is, how do we maybe know this? And if it's true, can authorities go and find this stuff now? So the Telegraph reports that Epstein had paid detectives, maybe even private investigators, to take equipment out of his Palm Beach home to seemingly protect it from being found by investigators. And according to the Telegraph, he leased a unit, for example, from 2003, or apparently leased a unit from 2003, and you have these credit card documents showing he seemingly made repeated payments, and we'll go through that. But here's the part that's really frustrating. According to the outlet, apparently...
Wow. Somebody leaking information, you can best believe that.
Never searched these storage lockers or units. I mean, one thing that's highlighted by the Telegraph is when you look at photos of Epstein's properties, there are what appear to be large storage areas and basements that are just apparently sitting empty. Why? Was stuff moved? Maybe more importantly, why the need for these apparent storage lockers if you had the space? If you had the room on the property, why would you need storage units? And I'll get into the conversation on storage in a minute, but if you think about what could be in there, if this is true, you couple this with the theory that Epstein had allegedly secret cameras and secret recordings too, right? Look at this email that was sent to Epstein in 2014. Quote, remember what we spoke about. If you want to put cameras in the house, it will have to be very discreetly done. The Russians may come in handy. And we know there were allegations that Jeffrey Epstein had ties to Russian officials, maybe the Russian government. How about this one? From Jeffrey Epstein to a member of his staff in 2014. Let's get 3 motion-detected hidden cameras that record. Thanks. So again, where's all that footage? I want to talk about the storage as potential areas to investigate, to potentially find evidence. So one of the emails from the Epstein release that I want to highlight is from August 2009. Now, this is about a month after Jeffrey Epstein is released from jail in Florida. Remember, he had pled guilty to solicitation of prostitution, including solicitation of a minor, and those convictions. And it seems there was a request from Epstein accuser, the late Virginia Giuffre, regarding certain evidence. Okay, so this is an email that Epstein forwards to his attorney, Roy Black, and then his attorney, Martin Weinberg. And this email is from a William Riley, who we'll talk about a little bit more.
William, that's Sasha Riley, daddy. That's Sasha Riley's daddy. Okay, let's go. Hold on. Let me back that up. That is Sasha Riley's daddy. Oh my, let's go.
And this email is from a William Riley, who we'll talk about a little bit more. I believe it's an investigator of some kind. So this is an email from William Riley with the subject Epstein, and it reads, Bob, over the weekend I learned that plaintiff's counsel are looking to get from me the computers and paperwork I took from Jeff's house prior to the search warrant. I have them locked in storage and would like to know what to do with them. They are no longer needed in the criminal case, I assume. Is it possible to give you these items for your review and safekeeping, or give to Darren Indike or back to Jeff, etc.? Indike was Epstein's personal lawyer, and at one point his co-executor.
Okay, so let's be really, really, really clear.
Roy Black, and then his...
That is Sasha Riley's adopted or foster dad,
attorney Martin Weinberg. And this email is from a William Riley,
who pimped him to this cult. He only adopted him to enter him into, to be used and abused by these men.
We'll talk about a little bit more. I believe it's an investigator of some kind. So this is an email from William Riley with the subject Epstein, and it reads, Bob, over the weekend I learned that plaintiff's counsel are looking to get from me the computers and paperwork I took from Jeff's house prior to the search warrant. I have them now from William Riley with the subject Epstein, and it reads, Bob, over the weekend, I learned that plaintiff's counsel are looking to get from me the computers and paperwork I took from Jeff's house prior to the search warrant. I have them locked in storage and would like to know what to do with them. They are no longer needed in the criminal case, I assume. Is it possible to give you these items for your review and safekeeping, or give to Darren Indike or back to Jeff, etc.? Indike was Epstein's personal lawyer and at one point his co-executor of Epstein's estate. And then it goes on to say, I have attached my inventory and some of the photos of the items I have. Roy Black directed that the computer drives be cloned, and he would have the results of that effort. The cloning was done by a forensic specialist, Dave Kleiman. Let me know ASAP, Bill Riley. Now, first of all, let me just say, is this going to be enough to warrant all these people being brought to Congress?
Do he know about Sasha Riley, I wonder?
And then it goes on to say, I have attached my inventory and some of the photos of the items I have. Roy Black directed that the computer drives be cloned, and he would have the results of that effort. The cloning was done by a forensic specialist, Dave Kleiman. Let me know ASAP, Bill Riley. Now, first of all, let me just say, is this going to be enough to warrant all these people being brought to Congress to testify? Maybe. But the key there, move computers and paperwork prior to the search warrant. I mean, an argument could be, was this material moved in anticipation of the criminal investigation? Was it hidden? The Telegraph explains what former Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reeder said when authorities searched Epstein's Florida property in connection with the initial Florida state charges that he faced. He said the place had been cleaned up, added how certain computer material appeared to be gone. Now, to give you a further idea of this, while Epstein was still serving his time for the Florida state charges, we have this May 2009 email from Epstein to this William Riley, and it says, you are going to send me a copy of Redacted's picture. Riley writes back, I thought I had a copy of it on my computer, but it is in storage with everything else.
Man, this is blowing my mind. This is Sasha Riley's dad.
To the storage unit. So again, seemingly confirming there is a storage unit with information connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Actually, when you think about what these people were doing for him, it is believed that perhaps William Riley was a private investigator, an investigator of some kind. And as the Telegraph notes, there are financial statements that indicate a payment trail to Riley Corrali Agency for thousands of dollars. Here's an invoice that was sent to Epstein's lawyers. Now, regarding the evidence of storage, and there are more emails in the files released regarding storage. Like, for example, I found this communication regarding Uncle Bob storage. How about this one from Leslie Groff? We've mentioned her a lot of times here on Sidebar. This is Epstein's former assistant. Look at this email. Were extra storage keys made and given to Corinna and redacted? Please confirm. Now, Corinna, again, somebody we focused on here on Sidebar. Corinna seems to be Corinna Shuliak, Epstein's purported secret girlfriend, who he was apparently planning on leaving the mass of his fortune, $100 million, all of his properties. We saw this upon his death. Epstein spoke to her for about 20 minutes the night before he died. So, storage lockers, Corinna, can see where we're going with this. It's very interesting, to say the least. By the way, I should also let you know, even if there are storage units, maybe it's just personal items. Maybe it's certain things that have no connection to criminal activity or blackmail, but again, weird. Now, how about this email thread with the subject, regarding Jeffrey Epstein extra storage, meet up today, please. And you have messages like this. Hello, as I sent in the other email, I am coordinating a storage locker for you. I will have it by the end of this week. I will keep you posted. Thank you, Andrew. Then this one. Morning, Andrew. Just circling back regarding the extra storage. Was today a good day for Redacted to meet with you or tomorrow? TJA or Taja. You have this one. Hi, Andrew and Anthony. It seems someone has changed the code on our storage locker. Both Redacted and Redacted have tried with our codes and cannot seem to make it work. Might it be possible someone on your end changed the codes? By the way, the more and more people you see connected to this, again, I go back to the idea, the more and more people you can question about this. Now, the Telegraph reports that Epstein apparently rented a storage unit near his New York mansion, and they cite this email with his purported accountant Richard Kahn in 2012, where Epstein writes, if things are being moved out on Monday, why do we need to wait until the 18th to do floors? Kahn writes back, we had a lot of excess equipment, furnishings, and supplies at 301. I'm trying to preserve as much usable stuff left behind, such as computers, supplies, etc. I will need some time to get rid of it. If you do not care where that stuff ends up, let me know, and apartments can be ready sooner. How about this one? September 2010. Jeff, Would you get your accountant to send me credit card information so I can have it put on file to have the monthly charges at Manhattan Mini Storage billed directly to your card? I would appreciate it. Thanks. This one. Jeffrey, the below link for your consideration. Do we have your approval to move forward with purchasing, and what color? Gray, tan, or blue? Now, according to the Telegraph, Epstein would apparently discuss transporting computers and CDs from Epstein's Island, Little St. James Island, to the storage units. And this is the also concerning part, even alleged communications about wiping these materials clean. So while I was looking for emails corroborating that, I mean, this idea of wiping material clean, let me just tell you some of the things I stumbled upon. You got this email from Epstein's personal assistant in 2017, and it says, "Hello, James and Redacted. James, Jeffrey would like you to get Redacted's computer and wipe it clean. Can the two of you coordinate a convenient time to do this?" Okay, there's a lot of reasons. I guess people could want computers wiped clean, but when you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, who was already convicted of solicitation of prostitution and then was later on accused of operating a sex trafficking of minors operation, see why this is strange, right? How about this one? "Hey Les, J.E. mentioned he wants Scott to wipe clean Ahmad's laptop today. I'm not so sure Ahmad is aware of this, or who should inform Ahmad of this. And I'm guessing it will require Scott to go to 301 to do so." How about this communication from Epstein's apparent accountant Richard Kahn to Epstein in 2015? The subject, "Items in PBI garage," so possibly referring to Palm Beach Island. "Janice would like to review with you as he believes some items such as old computers, once wiped, can be discarded." By the way, the Telegraph reports that this is not 100% clear where the computers were stored, but remember I mentioned Uncle Bob's? So the publication claims that this is a self-storage unit in Florida and that Epstein had been leasing it since 2003, and that there are even credit card statements showing Epstein was billed almost $400 a month until March of 2015. The Telegraph also claims that there are financial transactions where it appears that Epstein paid for storage units all across Florida for 10 years with lockups in industrial areas on the outskirts of Palm Beach and Delray Beach. Oh, by the way, that Janice person, so the Telegraph reports that that was apparently Epstein's house manager at the Palm Beach property. Let me highlight this.
Oh, I hope they find more evidence.
Okay, this was an email seemingly sent to Epstein's pilot, Larry Visosky, from his accountant, Bella Klein. Quote, "Hi, Larry. Just received lease from Uncle Bob Storage. Company also offers smaller units with space, 510 for $71 per month, 5 by 15 for $115 per month. Please confirm that we need all the items in the storage. If you think the items can be removed, we can get a smaller place. Janice is also using the storage sometimes. Now he will need to move some furniture from the garage to the storage. Not sure who makes the decision to put old furniture from garage to storage to add more cost to it." And Visosky is asked at one point by Klein, "What about all speakers, box with CDs?" What are these CDs, right? Whenever we talk about Jeffrey Epstein and digital material, question mark comes up. Now, at one point, you even had this communication where you see that Janice is listing out an inventory and says there are 3 computers. So this potentially provides a whole other avenue to explore for possible evidence. I mean, it was believed that computers were seized during the search of his Florida property by authorities, but again, didn't find evidence of sexual assault regarding other people. And when the FBI searched his New York mansion, there was a warrant that indicates that authorities seized 2 electronic devices from Jeffrey Epstein's person, so from himself, 33 devices from his Manhattan townhouse, and 27 devices from Epstein's Island. But we didn't see anything, and this is mentioned by the Telegraph, nothing about raids or search warrants or seizures on these outside storage units. In fact, August 2019, there was a communication from an FBI agent in New York, and this is what it read. "We are just about finished with the search. I am attaching the SITREP, so a situation report. We seized several computers, storage devices, documents, and a couple of servers. Nothing appears to be a smoking gun type of evidence, but we'll see when we do the computer forensics." And again, we go back to that conclusion from the DOJ and the FBI last year. Remember their memo that was released? No client list, no evidence of blackmailing, not enough evidence to go after uncharged third parties. I'm summarizing here, but you remember this. And then in the files that were just released, and I did a whole sidebar on this, but in the files, you had this internal FBI case summary, a memo, where it said, the case agents and AUSAs, Assistant United States Attorneys, ensured that all videos and images from the case file and from Epstein's residences and devices were reviewed for evidence of a crime. Those reviews revealed no evidence from any of the searches we conducted or any of the files we reviewed that any videos or other images exist of any victims in this case being sexually abused. Nor did those reviews reveal any evidence that anyone other than Epstein and Maxwell participated in the sexual abuse of victims in this case. We are aware of the theory circulated in the media and online that Epstein video recorded the abuse of his victims, including by other men, but we have found no evidence to support that theory. Indeed, had we found such videos, we certainly would have used them as evidence in the criminal cases we investigated and prosecuted and would have pursued any leads they generated. We did not, however, locate any such videos. However, now that we're talking about all this, is that really the end of the story? I'll tell you who doesn't believe that. Gloria Allred, a claimed attorney, represents Epstein survivors, told The Telegraph the FBI or Homeland Security should immediately seek a search warrant or permission from the attorneys representing Epstein's estate to seize the contents of his storage units if the contents still exist. And she added that the lockers, these units, may have, quote, evidence of his crimes and or business or political relationships with rich, powerful men. Victims deserve the whole truth and do not want what may be important parts of it hidden from them. And look, she's right, okay? First, this may put pressure on the FBI and the DOJ to respond to if they ever searched or knew about outside storage units. And by the way, if they didn't know about it, if it's coming out now, I mean, why would it take the Telegraph to look through this to make the argument that there might be something more there anyway? And also it might put pressure on the FBI and the DOJ to respond to whether they can get a judge to sign off on a warrant to search these units. Is there evidence of criminality? And you also have to wonder if these units still exist or whether or not they house Epstein materials. And if not, where did everything in these apparent storage units go? The easiest would, as Gloria Allred said, to have the attorneys, Epstein's attorneys, allow this, but not sure they're going to allow this. And let me tell you, the unit owners, so the companies that own the storage units, they're not going to hand over anything willingly, okay? They will require some sort of permission or a court order. But it also does become a question, will the DOJ move forward with this? Will the U.S. attorneys? I mean, let's not forget, there are a ton of politics involved here in what happens next and whether or not this investigation is going to move forward. But the more that comes out of the files and the more pressure from Congress and the public, you may see action. And look, what's in these potential storage units may not necessarily be evidence of, let's say, sex crimes, but look what we're covering right now. You're looking at investigations and arrests of Prince Andrew and Peter Mandelson out in the UK regarding allegedly sharing sensitive information. That seems to be the claim. So the more that you can understand about Epstein and his network of connections and what other material he may have had potentially shielded, A, it does raise questions about whether there's other charges or investigations that should be pursued. And B, just going back to the top, was there material that was purposely hidden from investigators regarding a pending investigation? You don't need to be an expert to know that could be potentially criminal charges there too, right? And if those apparent storage units are found and the material is found, this could be an entirely new chapter in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. Let's see what happens. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube.
Wow, okay. I was trying to see what this update was about. Did Epstein destroy evidence? True stories on Jeff abuse. Hold on. So let me get to what Candace had to say about Michael Jackson. With all the allegations that was out there, and now in his absence, we're finding that he was actually a hero.
As we all know, Michael and his brother.
I want to hear what she had to say.
All right, guys, happy Thursday. Today is actually Michael Jackson's birthday. He would have been 66 years old today. Now, I know that some of you guys are having flashbacks to your childhood, thinking about all that Michael Jackson and his music meant to you. But a great many more of you are perhaps thinking, but Candace, wasn't he a pedophile? The media, it is one hell of an entity. It really can have you thinking that the bad people are good and the good people are bad. So today, I am going to tell you the true story of what happened to Michael Jackson.
Oh,
What and who killed Michael Jackson? Welcome to Candace.
Oh, wow. Let's go. I don't know how I missed this one. I may not have been a fan at this time. Maybe, what is this? Maybe not. Let's go. Let's buckle up. Let's go. Let's see what she got to say.
Man, oh man, growing up in a black household, I will tell you, Michael Jackson is just required viewing. It's funny because I was asking people today, the crew, I was like, hey, yeah, you guys remember that movie, the Michael Jackson movie growing up? What was it called? And they had never seen it. And I'm going, oh, what do you mean you've never seen it? I've seen it so many times. I probably should be able to give you the script of it verbatim. The movie was entitled The Jacksons and American Dream. And as I said, this was required viewing in all black households. There's not a black person in America who did not see that movie. You also never forget the first time that you
2300
saw
Jackson
Michael
Street.
Jackson moonwalk in your childhood. Watching the movie, watching him moonwalk. Maybe some of you guys were actually alive when he did it in 1983. That was when he premiered it upon a Motown stage, dancing to Billie Jean. Let's actually watch that clip. You can just imagine people were just thinking, what did we just watch? This man is walking backwards. He seems to be defying gravity. And
The other day when I was thinking about the moonwalk and Michael Jackson helping these kids, kind of rescuing them from the Epstein island, I said to myself, that's probably when, once he went to that island and saw what was going on, is when he learned the moonwalk, when he backed up out of there, like, saw something and then moonwalk right on back out of there. I had thought about that.
he was just such a tremendous talent. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about him, remind you guys really rather, a little bit about him, because there, of course, was no person perhaps on earth that was more famous than Michael Jackson was as a Hollywood celebrity.
That's true.
Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29th, 1958. And as we all know, Michael and his brothers, Marlon, Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine, formed a band in 1962. And Michael was the lead singer in most of their songs. Their father was at first hesitant, but then he agreed to manage the band. And they became the Jackson 5, and they signed to Motown in 1968. Now, the band was an instant success, and they gained fans worldwide. Again, like I said, you can't even imagine the level of fame that Michael Jackson reached even when he was just a small boy. Women throwing themselves at him, the young women older women throwing himself at this young boy. And it transformed him, obviously. And Michael stood out amongst his brothers because of his voice and just his tremendous star quality. I mean, I'm going to let you listen to him sing a cappella. Take a listen. When I had you, I treated you bad and wrong, my dear, and God since you
Hey,
went
Mrs.
away.
Tom. Oh, you gotta let him hit that note. Oh my God!
You can see why people were moved to follow him, to adore him. People really just loved Michael Jackson, and his singles quickly climbed up the charts. Eventually, as we all know, Michael Jackson decided to branch out of his band with his brothers, and he began pursuing a career as a solo artist, not sure how it was going to go, and it went very well. He especially hit it big in 1979 after signing with Epic Records. He released his album Off the Wall. The singles Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You shot to #1, and they're still actually amongst the most popular songs. And he won his first Grammy ever in 1980 for Best R&B Male Vocal Performance. Now, then came the album that no person could ever forget, Michael Jackson dropped Thriller in 1982, man. I mean,
I
how many
knew
times did
we
you
were
watch
coming
this
back to
music video
bring it.
growing up? Everyone who followed Michael Jackson, I just thought it was the most amazing
I
thing.
almost
This is
did.
artwork. He was putting on a real show for people, and it was just incredible to watch. And I just remember dancing in front of my TV screen, just trying to mimic Michael Jackson's dance move. I think I did a pretty good job, but no one could ever dance like the King of Pop himself.
No.
Thriller was an instant classic, arguably one of Michael's
Usher,
most successful
almost.
and beloved albums. Thriller went platinum for the 21st time, and the Guinness Book of World Records certified it as the best-selling album ever. It has sold 70 million copies to date. 70 million people. So Michael himself had been in the public eye performing for 30 years, and he was nothing but adored. I mean, from his relationship with Princess Diana, Michael was everywhere. And it was just agreed that there would never be a talent like Michael Jackson. But then something happened in 1993, something very unusual given the fact that this was a man that was in the spotlight so much. It was in 1993 that the very first allegation came against him, made from a screenwriter in the industry. He was both a screenwriter and a dentist named Dr. Evan Chandler. Was based in Los Angeles, and his accusation was that Jackson had sexually abused his 13-year-old son, Jordan. Horrific. Now, how this came about was that Jordan told his psychiatrist that Jackson had molested him, and then the LAPD began a criminal investigation. But the investigation actually found no physical evidence against Jackson, and it was closed. The case was closed less than 1 year later. Now, that should have stopped the media from reporting on it. Michael Jackson wasn't guilty, but we know the media has never let facts get in the way of them having a good time. They broke the allegations worldwide, which led Michael Jackson to cancel the second leg of his Dangerous World Tour in August of that same year. And he cited health issues, health problems that were stemming from the stress of the entire scandal. And do you want to know what actually added to the stress? This is actually horrific. His sister, LaToya Jackson, came right out and she said, "Yup, Michael Jackson is a pedophile."
Oh, wow.
But then something weird happened. She didn't provide any evidence. She didn't even attach that statement to a story. And when people prodded her about that, why did you say your brother is a pedophile? She admitted that it was her husband who had forced her to make that statement. Now, it's very strange. Who is LaToya Jackson's husband? Well, here's a photo of her with him. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Like Dr. Evan Chandler, this man is Jewish. I'm going to tell you why that matters as we get more into the Michael Jackson story.
Here we
Her husband is a
go.
Jewish Russian immigrant, it says. His name used to be Jack Leon Gordon, and he then changed his name, also changed where he said he was born. He claimed that Las Vegas was his birthplace.
Hold on.
Jackson is a pedophile. But then something weird happened. She didn't provide any evidence. She didn't even attach that statement to a story. And when people prodded her about that, why did you say your brother is a pedophile? She admitted that it was her husband who had forced her to make that statement. Now, it's very strange. Who is LaToya Jackson's husband? Well, here's a photo of her with him. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Like Dr. Evan Chandler, this man is Jewish. I'm going to tell you why that matters as we get more into the Michael Jackson story. Her husband is a Jewish Russian immigrant, it says. His name used to be Jack Leon Gordon, and he then changed his name, also changed where he said he was born. He claimed that Las Vegas was his birthplace until he changed his name in 1981 to Samuel Isaac Gordon. And then he changed his name again in 1983 to Clifford William Johnson. And then he said he was born in Springfield, Massachusetts. Okay, this is all getting really weird. Why is this person changing his name so many times? And why is he pushing his wife to say that her brother is a pedophile? I mean, that's at least what LaToya Jackson said. And the story is going to get even stranger and stranger, making me think that we should maybe go back and re-examine his relationship, Michael Jackson's relationship, and with young Jordan and how these allegations came about. So let's do that. First and foremost, how did Michael Jackson meet little Jordan Chandler? It's actually kind of, the stars must have just aligned, literally the star being Michael Jackson. His car broke down on the side of the road. And he called the police. He was like, I'm Michael Jackson. Can you please come help me deal with this car? And they were like, no, actually, we can't help you deal with your car on the side of the road. And he made a bunch of phone calls. And then finally somebody was driving by and they were able to help him. And that someone was an owner of Rent-A-Wreck.
Rent-A-Wreck.
His name was David Schwartz. David Schwartz then gets Michael Jackson, tows the king of pop, could you imagine this, back to his shop and
Control. Let's go.
And her name is June Chandler Schwartz, and he's like, literally the most famous person in the world is standing in our shop. You might want to get down here real quick. And guess what? June got down there real quick, and she brought her young son, Jordan, with her. And then the relationship was born. Michael Jackson, as so many fans were surrounding him at this wreck place, he began speaking to the little boy because he, I guess, felt uncomfortable about all the press. They had a conversation, and he felt that the family was just so kind to him that they became really close friends. He traveled around with Jordan. He brought Jordan's mother with him, took them everywhere, hosted sleepovers with Jordan, along with other young boys. Obviously, we all know about his Neverland Ranch, and our understanding of that up until this point was just that Michael Jackson always felt that he didn't have a childhood. And so he always felt badly for children and wanted them to have an experience, have a real childhood, and created a ranch to make that a plausibility. Like he wanted to create Disney World forever for children. Then some things got kind of strange as you start to look into the story. You're going, okay, so they were friends, the media loved it, they referred to them as Michael Jackson's adopted family, they loved the background story, and then apparently this kid's dad, Jordan Chandler, and to be clear, the person who picked Michael Jackson up and took care of his car was Jordan Chandler's stepfather. But his real father started going, I actually don't like his relationship with Michael Jackson. And that's interesting because then you find out that despite the fact that his real father, Dr. Evan Chandler, made these allegations against Michael Jackson, despite the fact that you learn that it was him that did this, Jordan Chandler, just a year later, decided to emancipate from both of his parents. So you're following me. He's 13 years old. His biological father makes allegations at the age of 13 against Michael Jackson, the king of pop. And a year later, Jordan Chandler moves to emancipate from both of his parents. In case you're not aware of what emancipation is, it's essentially you go to the court and you can say a variety of things. You show them that you have some way to make money, and you say, I do not want to be the child of either of these parents. Literally emancipate me before I turn 18. And the judge grants that if they believe that there's enough evidence that you should be emancipated.
Yeah,
he did this. Great. Jordan Chandler did this. And it makes you wonder, like, how could you do this to your dad? I mean, like, your poor old man, that must have been a really tough decision for Dr. Evan Chandler to stand up to the king of pop and all his power and all his fandom and to say, hey, he molested my child and it wasn't on my watch. My wife is remarried and he shouldn't have even been having sleepovers. You would think that Jordan would adore his father for having done this. And then you find out that when he turned 16, he filed a restraining order against his dad because his dad tried to beat him with a weight. What's really going on? Well, certainly, again, like I said, at least it was courageous that his dad made these allegations against Michael Jackson, because this is sickening, it is disgusting, and it's not like his dad drugged him into making this sort of an allegation. Oh my gosh, actually, he did. His father, Dr. Evan Chandler, did in fact drug his child into making the allegation about Michael Jackson. I'm going to read you directly from an article about what Dr. Evan Chandler did. It reads, on August 2nd, 1993, dentist Dr. Evan Chandler was extracting a tooth from his own son, Jordan, when he did something unusual. Under the supervision of an attending anesthesiologist, Dr. Chandler injected his son with a dose of sodium amytal, a barbiturate, although in pop culture it has sometimes incorrectly been called a truth serum. It is not normal to use sodium amytal to pull a tooth. In fact, it is a psychological drug with sedative and hypnotic effects. Oh, totally normal situation to drug your child, to sedate him with a drug that produces hypnotic effects, and then to ask him, did Michael Jackson molest you? To which your drugged and sedated son says yes. That is the actual story about how this allegation came about. And once his son said yes, and he reported that, Evan Chandler then demanded $20 million privately from Michael Jackson. He didn't go to the cops. He went to a lawyer. He said, I won't make this public if you give me $20 million. If you don't give me $20 million, I'm going to make it public. And Michael Jackson told him to kick rocks, allegedly. And then he had his lawyer go back and say, okay, what about if it's just $1 million? And by the way, at this point, it says that his lawyer was like, hey, man, but like, you know, if your son was molested, maybe go to the cops, right? Like, don't just have me negotiating with the king of pop. Like, you should go to the cops. And he's like, you just keep negotiating. Unbelievably. And during this time, he took his son to a psychiatrist. We love psychiatrists on this show. And he made his son describe graphic details of what Jackson had done to him, but didn't do to any of the other boys who were also present for the sleepovers. You know, Jordan's mother at this point, June Schwartz, she and her new husband thought, you know, I think maybe he could be telling some lies. My ex-husband, maybe he's not that honest of a person. And so Jordan's stepdad, a man named Dave Schwartz, decided to confront him, to confront Dr. Evan Chandler. And not just to confront him, but to record him speaking about what he was going to do to Michael Jackson and co. Take a listen to Dr. Evan Chandler, the dentist, in his own words.
Y'all please hit the like button.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief, and not believe that he will not believe what's going to happen. And beyond his worst nightmares, that's that one more record. This attorney I found, I mean, I interviewed several, and I picked the nastiest son of a bitch I could find. Once I make that phone call, this guy is just going to destroy everybody in sight, any devious, nasty, cruel way that he can do it. And I've given him full authority to do that. It'll be a massacre if I don't get what I want. If I go through with this, I win big time. That's that one more record. This attorney I found, I mean, I interviewed several, and I picked the nastiest son of a bitch I could find. Once I make that phone call, this guy is just going to destroy everybody in sight, any devious, nasty, cruel way that he can do it. And I've given him full authority to do that. It'll be a massacre if I don't get what I want. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want, and they will be destroyed forever. They will be destroyed. June is going to lose Jordy. She will have no right to ever see him again. Yeah. That's a fact, Dave. That's what's going to happen. Does that help? Michael's career will be over. Does that help Jordy? Michael's career will be over. And does that help Jordy? It's irrelevant to me.
Oh, whether or not this helps his son is irrelevant to him. That man sounds like he is on a warpath. You think that's crazy? Well, it's about to get even crazier. Do not go away after a brief message from one of our sponsors. Hang on.
Wow, y'all.
All right, you guys, with a cliffhanger like that, you likely will not be. He's no longer with us because he was suicidal. Maybe, yeah, I mean, definitely did drug his son into a confession. And use code Candace at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Candace and use code Candace for up to 40% off. Better sleep has never tasted better. So back to Evan Chandler, Dr. Evan Chandler, who maybe, yeah, I mean, definitely did drug his son into a confession. I mean, does that count as MK Ultraing your son? I don't know. It's interesting, and it sounds like he doesn't care. His son is irrelevant to him. Maybe that's why he wanted to emancipate away from his crazy dad. And if you want an even crazier update, Evan Chandler, the person who started this initial allegation, he's no longer with us because he was suicided. Oh, I mean, he committed suicide in November of 2009, just 5 months after Michael Jackson was overdosed. Yeah, Evan Chandler shot himself in the head. There were absolutely no witnesses. There was no note. And he was found by his building concierge. That's just a fun little update for you. But back to Michael Jackson, because even though, like I said, that never went through, they dropped this case in less than a year, the media kind of saw that there was this squeeze on Michael Jackson, but then they let it go. There were no more allegations against Michael Jackson until almost 10 years later, when suddenly there was an explosion of allegations against Michael Jackson. And I want you to remember that year, 2003 is when it began. It began when a boy named Gavin Arvizo accused Michael Jackson of child abuse, saying that he was under 14 at the time of the alleged crime. The singer was then charged because of this allegation with 7 counts of child sexual abuse and 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent. What does the public actually remember from that time? What do you remember from that time? Well, we remember that Michael Jackson was wacko jacko, that he was crazy, that he was addicted to drugs, whatever his doctor was injecting him with. Here are just some of the headlines: wacko, jacko, backo, jacko, sex raid, wacko, jacko, on the attacko. I mean, this is like seared into my memory. I'm sure it's seared into your memory as well. This is what I remember. And I also remember that he was anti-Semitic. Yeah, there were headlines calling him an anti-Semite, saying that he hated Jews. And by the way, they had evidence because, so weird, but his doctor who overdosed him also recorded Michael Jackson while he was also clearly sounding like he was high on drugs. Maybe his doctor gave him drugs and then spoke to him. And somehow this recording this conversation between him and the doctor made its way out into the public. And yeah, it's a fact. In the conversation with his doctor, he referred to Jews as leeches, said that they were trying to take everything from him. And then he was labeled worldwide as, like I said, not just crazy, but also an anti-Semite. And that is just not what you want to be called in the press. It was then revealed that Michael Jackson kept an enemy list on which he had Tommy Mottola, along with, I'm not kidding you guys, Rabbi Shmuley. Yes, that Rabbi Shmuley. He had him on this list, and Rabbi Shmuley then, after Michael Jackson died, then released recordings of him that he said Michael Jackson definitely wanted him to do, even though he was on this list for Michael Jackson. Also, illusionist Uri Geller, attorney Gloria Allred, the one that we associate with all the Me Too cases that have been taking down a lot of men. He also listed the DA, Tom Sneddon, and Janet Arvizo, the mother of that accuser, Gavin Arvizo. By the way, when you have spare time, you should look up Janet Arvizo. You should look up how many celebrities, I mean, I'm talking everybody from Jay Leno to Chris Tucker, who have spoken out about that family, on which he had Tommy Mottola, along with, I'm not kidding, its way out into the public. And yeah, it's a fact. In the conversation with his doctor, he referred to Jews as leeches. Said that they were trying to take everything from him. And then he was labeled worldwide as, like I said, not just crazy, but also an anti-Semite. And that is just not what you want to be called in the press. It was then revealed that Michael Jackson kept an enemy list on which he had Tommy Mottola, along with, I'm not kidding you guys, Rabbi Shmuley. Yes, that Rabbi Shmuley. He had him on this list, and Rabbi Shmuley then, after Michael Jackson died, then released recordings of him that he said Michael Jackson definitely wanted him to do, even though he was on this list for Michael Jackson. Also, illusionist Uri Geller, attorney Gloria Allred, the one that we associate with all the Me Too cases that have been taking down a lot of men. He also listed the DA, Tom Sneddon, and Janet Arvizo, the mother of that accuser, Gavin Arvizo. By the way, when you have spare time, you should look up Janet Arvizo. You should look up how many celebrities, I mean, I'm talking everybody from Jay Leno to Chris Tucker, who have spoken out about that family and have accused them, many people, of intentionally being fraudulent. I'm just giving you the facts. You can look that up in your spare time. But this was his list. He had a list of Jews who he said were trying to ruin his life. But we don't really remember that part. We don't remember even that Michael Jackson, despite all of those media headlines and being accused of being a pedophile, he actually won his case. Yeah, despite 10 years of investigation, no proof was ever actually produced. I'm going to allow Ian Carroll, one of my favorite TikTokers, to explain that to you. Take a listen.
The FBI were investigating Jackson for 10 full years. and they presented no evidence of criminal conduct on Jackson's part. The files have been declassified and you can view them yourself. They include a raid of his home where they confiscated all electronics. This is their ID number that you'll see. We're talking computers, hard drives, cell phones, where they say the amount of gigabytes. And then following are pages like this where they have the ID of the different devices and they all say nothing. Literally, they all say this. They found nothing. But that didn't stop the press from running made-up stories about how secret FBI files revealed that Jackson had paid millions in hush money to dozens of boys he had abused, despite the FBI files directly negating that statement.
Well, that is an absolute fact. Michael Jackson was acquitted on all counts on June 13th, 2005. But of course, despite the fact that a jury acquitted him, despite the fact that the pop star had been vindicated in a courtroom, we know that's all about the media. It's all about what the media writes. The media tells you what a person is, irrespective of whether or not they have any evidence of whether the person is in fact what they say he is. That's the power of the mainstream media. Michael Jackson himself insisted that he actually was the victim of mother and son con artists, plus a prosecutor who had a vendetta. But a vendetta about what? And also, can somebody explain why he decided to, at the end of his life, become an anti-Semite? Become a Jew hater? Oh, actually, yeah, Ian Carroll can explain that portion again, too. Take a listen.
When you look into those allegations or those insults, you realize that because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses, but Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day and there's video proving it. So they changed their story, but the witnesses definitely saw it and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out of Jackson's accounts in collusion with Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola and funneling it through a bunch of offshore accounts in the Caribbean. John Branca is Jewish, and Tommy Mottola is also Jewish. Plus, Tommy Mottola married Mariah Carey partway through his life when she was a young woman. He was an old man. And there are other allegations about that whole situation you can look up on your own.
Yeah, so there you have it. Michael Jackson went to war with some very powerful people. And I don't know why, but I guess in his will, he wanted to leave everything to those very powerful people. He, as Ian mentioned, went after Mottola, Tommy Mottola, a very powerful person in the industry who has connections, according to Vanity Fair, to the mafia, right? So we're talking about some people that could do some real harm. When you read that article, I advise you do, called it's entitled Tommy Boy, to learn about his history. And really, Michael Jackson was outwardly talking even about the things that Mottola had done to Mariah Carey. He referred to Tommy Mottola as the devil. Like I said, he's not the kind of person that you want to go to war with. And not only that, Michael Jackson had the courage to call out how record companies cheat their artists. He wanted to stand up for these small guys and say, we cannot allow these sorts of things to go on anymore. Take a listen.
Record companies really, really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists. Sony, Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish.
That clip was from 2002. His declaration of war on the industry of people who he was alleging was intentionally stealing and selling artists short, and who he no longer wanted to work with because he wanted to be a free agent. He wanted nothing to do with these people. And as Ian said, he was fighting this war privately and he was winning. At least he was winning it in the courtroom. But as I said, the courtroom doesn't dictate wins, does it? In that measure, everything that he was doing was really all in vain, because he is now remembered as Wacko Jacko, a title that was created for him in the mainstream media that really hurt him. In fact, he sat down with Barbara Walters and spoke about how much that name hurt him. Take a listen.
You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice.
After the trial, Michael Jackson stepped away from the spotlight, and then it was reported, because having fought all of these lawsuits, that he was on the brink of bankruptcy. Why do you think about that? I want you to think of a person who once sold
Thank you, Paul.
70
Can I back this up a
million
little bit?
records, made Sony extremely rich. No proof was ever actually produced. I'm going to allow Ian Carroll, one of my favorite TikTokers, to explain that to you. Take a listen.
The FBI were investigating Jackson for 10 full years, and they presented no evidence of criminal conduct on Jackson's part. The files have been declassified, and you can view them yourself. They include a raid of his home where they confiscated all electronics. This is their ID number that you'll see. We're talking computers, hard drives, cell phones, where they say the amount of gigabytes. And then following are pages like this, where they have the ID of the different devices.
No
and they
evidence.
all
Can you
say
believe that?
Nothing. Literally. They all say this. They found nothing. But that didn't stop the press from running made-up stories about how secret FBI files revealed that Jackson had paid millions in hush money to dozens of boys he had abused.
Just lied.
Despite the FBI files directly negating that statement.
Wow.
Well, that is an absolute fact. Michael Jackson was acquitted on all counts on June 13th, 2005.
Just to
But of
run him
course,
through
despite the
there.
fact that a
Just
jury
to embarrass
acquitted
him and break him.
Despite the fact that the pop star had been vindicated in a courtroom, we know that's all about the media. It's all about what the media writes. The media tells you what a person is, irrespective of whether or not they have any evidence of whether the person is in fact what they say he is. That's the power of the mainstream media. Michael Jackson himself insisted that he actually was the victim of mother and son con artists, plus a prosecutor who had a vendetta. But a vendetta about what? And also, can somebody explain why he decided to, at the end of his life, become an anti-Semite, become a Jew hater? Oh, actually, yeah, Ian Carroll can explain that portion again, too. Take a listen.
When you look into those allegations or those insults, you realize that because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses. But Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day, and there's video proving it. So they changed their story. But the witnesses definitely saw it, and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out of Jackson's accounts in collusion with Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola and funneling it through a bunch of offshore accounts in the Caribbean. John Branca is Jewish, and Tommy Mottola is also Jewish. Plus, Tommy Mottola married Mariah Carey partway through his life when she was a young woman. He was an old man. And there are other allegations about that whole situation you can look up on your own.
Yeah, so there you have it. Michael Jackson went to war with some very powerful people. And I don't know why,
Jewish.
but I guess in his will he wanted to leave everything to those very powerful people. He, as Ian mentioned, went after Mottola, Tommy Mottola, a very powerful person in the industry who has connections, according to Vanity Fair, to the mafia. Right? So
Yep.
we're talking about some people that could do
Gary,
some real
ex-husband.
harm. When you read that article, I advise you do, it's entitled Tommy Boy, to learn about his history. And really, Michael Jackson was outwardly talking even about the things that Mottola had done to Mariah Carey.
Mimi.
He referred to Tommy Mottola as the devil. He said he's not the kind of person that you want to go to war with. And not only that, Michael Jackson had the courage to call out how record companies cheat their artists. He wanted to stand up for these small guys and say, we cannot allow these sorts of things to go on anymore. Take a listen.
Record companies really, really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists. Sony, Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record
He
division.
put a name on it.
He is a mean, he's a racist, And
Thank you,
he's
Mimi.
very, very, very devilish.
He put a
That clip
name
was
on
from
it.
2002, his declaration of war on the industry of people who he
Especially the black artists. Sony Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish.
That clip was from 2002, his declaration of war on the industry of people who he was alleging was intentionally stealing and selling artists short, and who he no longer wanted to work with because he wanted to be a free agent. He wanted nothing to do with these people. And as Ian said, he was fighting this war privately and he was winning. At least he was winning it in the courtroom. But as I said, the courtroom doesn't dictate wins, does it? In that measure, everything that he was doing was really all in vain, because he is now remembered as Wacko Jacko, a title that was created for him in the mainstream media that really hurt him. In fact,
Yeah.
he sat down with Barbara Walters and spoke about how much that name hurt him. Take a listen.
You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice.
After the trial, Michael Jackson stepped away from the spotlight, and then it was reported, because having fought all of these lawsuits, that he was on the brink of bankruptcy. I want you to think about that. I want you to think of a person who once sold 70 million records, made Sony extremely rich, that at the end of his life, he was on the verge of bankruptcy and had faced closure on his Neverland ranch. And he never did, by the way, return back to Neverland. In 2009, he announced that he was going to put together some comeback concerts, and there were rumors about his financial situation, but the concerts never came to pass because, well, we know Michael Jackson unfortunately died of an overdose that was administered to him by a doctor. No one was there other than, the guy that you're supposed to call if you get into trouble with Diddy. We've spoken about that in a past episode. Fahim Muhammad, and of course Dr. Conrad Murray, who basically got a slap on the wrist. A doctor from the Virgin Islands who got a slap on the wrist, had been leaking phone calls, and I don't even believe, and you can fact check me on this one, that he's even had his medical license removed. I think he's still practicing back in the Virgin Islands. Again, I'm pretty sure that's the last thing that I've read on it. So that is the story of Michael Jackson. His death was ruled a homicide, and in 2011, Conrad Murray was found guilty. He was allowed a cell phone in the slammer while he was in there. Really strange. And then, like I said, he was released back into normal life as if nothing had happened.
He was
So what do you
allowed
say
a
to
cell
that?
phone.
Well, it's interesting because what happened to Michael Jackson could never happen today, right? Back when all this was going on in the early 2000s, the media ran things. They completely controlled our minds. I, too, was warped to believe that Michael Jackson was a pedophile, and not that Michael Jackson had picked a fight with some very powerful people who have a leg in the media, who can make things appear and make things go away with a snap of their fingers. And since then, there have been a lot of artists who have tried to speak out about this type of mafia behavior, where when people don't get what they want, they will take everything from you and ruin you. To turn the king of pop, to leave him desolate and broke at the end of his career, is a crime. But here's the thing that I will say. They can lie, they can steal, they can deceive, but they can never create. Because these people do not have the creator force within them, because Michael Jackson was right when he said that these people are devilish. All they can ever
They
do
never lie.
is try to dissuade the masses
And
via
steal.
lies. And to go to sleep every night knowing that you are a liar, that you have
don't
no
care.
creative force within you, that
They're
you will
doing the
always
devil's
have
work.
to steal from people who actually do have talent. You will always have to lie about people who actually do have that creative force. That's a sad eventual ending for those individuals as well. And so Michael Jackson, they may have taken your money, they may have for a short term impacted your reputation, but there are so many of us in the world who now recognize the truth of what happened to you, and we have platforms and we have voices too, and we will continue to hold a candle for the king of pop. Happy birthday, Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Is this a good time to talk to you guys about finding an honest doctor? Because I know that a lot of us struggle to find one for the king of pop. Happy birthday, Michael Jackson.
You know, it's interesting that now he is in the Epstein files. But Jeffrey Epstein spoke about hating him for interrupting what he had planned with some of the Hollywood boys, trying to protect them. It's just mind blowing who actually cleared him. The Epstein files is going to bring Trump down and some of these dignitaries, lawmakers. And then on the flip side, it cleared Michael Jackson. Isn't that mind blowing? It's mind blowing for me. Wow. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Let's go.
And we can cut to this clip of Kanye West. While supplies last. That's nativepath.sale/Candace. You know, there was another person in the music industry who spoke out about gangs and saying that he was having his entire life taken from him and that he just wanted to be free. And he also was crazy and anti-Semitic. Wow, that is a trend.
It is a trend.
We can cut
because now
to
she's being
this
called
clip
that.
of Kanye West.
Drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media it went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
Kanye, I don't know what he's doing out there. Like I said, crazy anti-Semitic has not yet been accused of being a pedophile, but we'll just wait because the media can drum up essentially whatever they want, and that's exactly what has been happening to me. So you're not going to believe this. Yesterday, I was informed by some reporters who have a soul that the ADL sent around what effectively should be deemed a hit list, like went to reporters and basically said, here's everything you need to know about Candace Owens and here's how you can attack her. And they put me up on their website. Now, just to give you the background of this, the ADL has been orchestrating all of these attacks on me and their huge network of journalists, their never-ending budget, because I, at first, attacked them for defending a convicted pedophile named Leo Frank. And I don't feel sorry about that. I just do not care. So now they're pretending that I said that Judaism was a pedophile-centric religion. Definitively never said that. But just to give you the background of this, the ADL has been orchestrating all of these attacks on me and their huge network of journalists, their never-ending budget, because I, at first, attacked them for defending a convicted pedophile named Leo Frank. And I don't feel sorry about that. I just do not care. So now they're pretending that I said that Judaism was a pedophile-centric religion. Definitively never said that, but who cares? Like I said, we don't let facts get in the way of a good time. And so they've sent these talking points to journalists around the world, and that's not it. So they have me listed that I espouse conspiracy theories related to the LGBTQ plus community, that I've downplayed the impact of slavery and racism on the black community. They have where I used to work at, where I'm going. They also, my understanding is, they mentioned in whatever email went out, my advertisers. And you're not going to believe this. Lo and behold, I woke up today. So this email that they sent out went out yesterday. I woke up today with advertisers telling me that they were getting specific emails from people. This one was written by a man named Adam Goldman of the NYU Review. Hope this finds you well. My name is Adam Goldman. I'm the chief editor of the NYU Review. Does Gold Coast still sponsor Candace Owens? Because Owens has recently suggested that elements of the Holocaust may be propaganda and that a cabal of pedophile Jews are controlling the world. Her actions have been widely condemned by Sarah Carter and Gad Saad and countless others. Does Goldco agree with the sentiments espoused by Owens? Let me know as soon as possible. So just so we're clear, you guys, when people are describing gang-like behavior, this is what they are speaking about. So what's actually transpired here is at first it came, Rabbi Shmuley and the threats for me to get fired from where I was working. And then when that was achieved, they were like, okay, we've won. And then I rebrought my show back and they were like, wait a minute, why are people still listening to her? We've already smeared her and we called her an anti-Semite. People, why are her views so high? We're going to have to go harder. And then when they realized that going harder only made people realize how dishonest they were, people are watching the show and they're watching them lie in real time, they hatched up their third plan. So their third plan now is, how does Candace Owens make money? That's the question. They've sat down in some room, they've asked a question, and somebody said, well, she makes money on YouTube. And so you're not going to believe this. This account called Awesome Jew started saying to people, let's start mass reporting her YouTube channel. And he said this after I dropped my Tristan Tate interview. And he showed a step-by-step guide of how to fake report my account. Here it is. You can report, even provided a link. You can report her YouTube channel here. Because now they're like, okay, well, we can't get rid of her. Look at this. This is incredible. But you go down and hit hate speech against a protected group. Do this to the Tristan Tate episode, and we'll get it taken down. We're just going to start mass reporting her so that people can no longer listen to her show. And you're not going to believe this Tristan Tate interview. We actually did the right thing, and we asked YouTube to manually review it before it went out. YouTube manually reviewed it as soon as it went out, and they came back to us and they wrote, your video is suitable for all advertisers. Amazing. But that was before this awesome Jew decided to inspire people to mass report. And then yesterday we got an email from YouTube saying, oh, forget the part where we reviewed it. We removed your content with Tristan because it doesn't follow our community guidelines. I want to show you guys this in real life because I think it's important to go through this sort of a thing because it creates a legacy. It allows people to understand what's actually happening in this world. Michael Jackson, when he was alive, like I said, didn't have the blessing of podcasting. He didn't have the blessing of independent journalism. And so when you made the mainstream media people upset, that was it. It was over. They created a narrative. But you guys get to watch this in real time. So they said, okay, that's one way. YouTube, we're going to start mass reporting her accounts, and then we are going to go after her speeches. I shared a couple of days ago that Barry Weiss's writers, who have not stopped consistently first trying to wacko-jacko me, Barry Weiss came out and was like, Candace is unhinged, and they're doing the exact same treatment. Candace is crazy. She's lost it. She's got, what did someone diagnose me with, like postpartum psychosis? One of them was pushing. And so Barry Weiss then had another reporter. And I know his last name is Rubenstein. I'm forgetting his first name. It might have been Adam Rubenstein. But I'm not sure if I'm guessing here that it's two Adams. He came out and was working on a hit piece, didn't even contact me, and was essentially just trying to put pressure and rumor in the air to pretend like I was getting dropped from speeches. Because that's what they want to happen. They don't want me to earn any income at all. Which explains why when I showed you last week that they even used their anti-defamation arm in Australia to lobby politicians to get my visa denied.
I think she's cool as hell.
She can't travel. Like, she's a criminal. She can't travel to make any money overseas and to give speeches. And this is how they started this, like, fake Holocaust denial narrative. It's very important for you guys to recognize this. I want to add my voice to people like Ye, like Michael Jackson.
I'm going to say this about Candace Owens. Everybody should have a friend like Candace Owens. Everybody should have. If you do not have a friend like Candace Owens, you need to reevaluate your friends. No lie. No lie. Is she perfect? No. None of us are. Will she be ride or die to the end? Yes, she will. Will she get to the bottom of some shit? Yes, she will. Will she accept anything people tell her? No. Ain't nothing nobody can tell me about her and her being a friend. I think Michael Jackson would have appreciated her if he did not know her. And I think he appreciate his spirit appreciates her now. And I don't even know what her well, kinda, but I don't. What she gonna say at the end? Cause she did the research. She's just not making an assumption. And like she said, she falsely accused him herself until she did the research. So I think everybody should have a friend. She has set the bar high. In 2025. And that's just my opinion.
Who have had the courage to stand up to this sort of a mafia that are lying and attacking you, lying on your character day in and day out, and doing it with the audacity of accusing you of being a hateful individual simply because you won't kowtow to their narrative. And it doesn't matter what that narrative is. For Michael Jackson, it was about Sony, right? It was about his shares in
She's not
Sony.
hateful. She's not two-faced.
For Kanye.
She's okay, Sutherland. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you respectfully. I'm not. Just because you don't agree with her, just because she has God brought her to the light, that does not make someone a hypocrite. People can believe something at one point, and as they grow, and as people allow you to see who they really are, you have the right to change your mind. That does not make you a hypocrite. When somebody who was being deceitful was disguising who they were or who they are in their true intent, and once you find out the real deal, Holyfield, and you go in a different direction, once the truth is exposed, that does not make you a hypocrite. That makes you smart. That makes you wise. Yeah, no. People have life and BS mixed up. People outgrow people. She would be foolish to remain in situations and cults that she was involved in once the truth came to light. See, there's some people who still rolling in dirt, thinking it's gold. Fool's gold. Yeah, no. Folk got to grow up. It's time to grow up.
It was how dare you speak out on what was done to
She
you.
is a truth
When he started
seeker,
saying
absolutely.
He was going to start naming people in the industry that were doing stuff to him. And he did name people, and nobody cared. Even when he showed evidence,
Charlie Kirk
Charlie
was a hypocrite.
to drug him
Let's
and
keep that
send
real.
him back to La La Land. Nobody
And
cared.
once he came to
His
the
name was
light,
not there to protect Kanye. They're there to protect Harley Pasternak.
They
He's
took
in
him
the
out.
Club, right? And now with me, what was my crime? Well, I don't agree with Bibi Netanyahu. I'm not like the scores of other America First
He said he was a
conservatives
devout
who will
believer
fall
in
over
Jesus
themselves and allow
Christ,
Bibi Netanyahu to spit
but was
in their
doing
figurative
and
faces
talking
and
like
speak
a
about
devil.
America like we are a worthless slave
Full of
colony
hate.
that exist only to do the bidding of Bibi Netanyahu. That we have no
Yeah,
right
right
to
there,
critique
right there, right
anything
there.
that he says. You want me to believe
Bibi,
that guy's a victim?
right there.
I just don't buy it.
Let me
And
pause.
so they've
Right
been
there.
filming
She right there. Bibi
Hornets.
Netanyahu.
And they are hell-bent on making sure that we cannot speak, that we do not
Yeah,
make
right
what's
there.
actually happening in this world. Michael Jackson, when he was alive, like I said, didn't have the blessing of podcasting. He didn't have the blessing
We've
of
all
independent
been misled
journalism.
in life.
And so when you made the mainstream media people
Lepers do
upset,
change their spots. If God says leopard change their spots, guess what? Lepers gonna change their spots. Yeah, you stuck on foolishness. And so I'm gonna go ahead and remove you from over here. You're in the wrong spot. You have a good one. Yeah. God can change you. I said because of the renewing of the mind. Yeah. Christ can and will set you free. He will change the way you think the way you move, the way you talk, the way you walk. So yeah, you can. When you give your life to Christ, a leopard ain't gonna change his spots if he's still dancing with the devil. Yeah.
That was it. It was over. They created a narrative, but you guys get to watch this in real time. So they said, okay, that's one way. YouTube.
Y'all get the lights up for me. Only a fool remains the same through. Absolutely. That means you ain't learned nothing if you stay the same. By the time you get old and mature, with some experiences, some of them spots that was brown or black hair, they gonna turn white. How we have stinking thinking, and God gives us the Holy Spirit to can be absolutely. I have a new way of what's that old song? Oh yeah, baby, he'll make you new. Absolutely, that's a lie, and the truth ain't in you, baby. Cause I know for sure some of the things I used to do and say I don't do no more. I know for sure I don't go the route I used to. I don't even go that route. I won't even compromise my peace. I know that's a lie. Yeah, I know that's a lie. I need for y'all to get the lights up. Oh, no. No. Mm-mm. Absolutely not. It's funny now because back in the day, you didn't even think about nothing like that. You just want to have fun, and your attitude was bad. Self-centered. I can laugh about it now. Choose this day from whom you'll serve. Yes. And you become a new creature. So that old saying about a leopard don't change your spot, that is a lie. God can change you and make you new, clean as snow. Yeah. You would go from a wretch, undone, to a pure as snow by way of grace. Yeah. Christ justifies you and Christ makes you holy. And things you used to do, you don't do no more. So that's a lie. You got to grow up, though. You got to grow up. If ever I have seen some reprobated-minded people, what we're going through right now, what we're seeing, what God is exposing and revealing right now, I see more reprobated-minded people who know, who is stuck in done signed deals with the devil, dance with the devil, eat with the devil, people eating babies. Huh? Justifying this mess in their head and in their mind. You got to have a reprobated mind. I don't know if I even thought about reprobated mind to the degree that is pounding in my head right now with some of the stuff that we are hearing in them Epstein files. That's a special kind of evil, baby. That's a special kind of evil. I mean, I ain't God, but I just can't see God in none of that. If you have just a little bit of God in you. I just can't see it with some of the stuff that has unfolded in these Epstein files. But I'm going to move on so I can finish this off before I start doing what I didn't used to do long time ago, and that gets sentimental. There, because if this don't touch your heart, I don't know what will. This is a special kind of evil that I don't even want to try to figure it out. It's so bad. Lord, I just don't want to know. I gotta know, but I don't want to know. And that's just keeping it real, y'all. Sad. Come on.
We're going to start mass reporting her accounts.
Ooh.
And then we are going to go after her speeches. I shared a couple of days ago that Barry Weiss's writers, who have not stopped consistently first trying to wacko jacko me, Barry Weiss came out and was like, Candace is unhinged, and they're doing the exact same treatment. Candace is crazy. She's lost it. She's got, what if someone diagnosed me with like postpartum psychosis? One of them was pushing. And so
As
Barry
in the
Weiss
days
had
of
another
Noah.
reporter. And I know his last name is Rubenstein. I'm forgetting his first name. It might have been Adam Rubenstein, but I'm not sure if I'm guessing here that it's two Adams. He came out and was working on a hit piece, didn't even contact me, and was essentially just trying to put pressure and rumor in the air to pretend like I was getting dropped from speeches, because that's what they want to happen. They don't want me to earn any income at all, which explains why when I showed you last week that they even used their anti-defamation arm in Australia to lobby politicians to get my visa denied. Like, she can't travel. Like, she's a criminal. She can't travel to make any money overseas and to give speeches. And this is how they started this like fake Holocaust denial narrative. It's very important for you guys to recognize this. I want to add my voice to people like Ye, like Michael Jackson, who have had the courage to stand up to this sort of a mafia that are lying and attacking you, lying on your character day in and day out, and doing it with the audacity of accusing you of being a hateful individual simply because you won't kowtow to their narrative. And it doesn't matter what that narrative is. For Michael Jackson, it was about Sony. Right? It was about his shares in Sony. For Kanye, it was how dare you speak out on what was done to you, when he started saying he was going to start naming people in the industry that were doing stuff to him. And he did name people, and nobody cared, even when he showed evidence that Harley Pasternak threatened to drug him and send him back to La La Land. Nobody cared, because the media is not there to protect Kanye. They're there to protect Harley Pasternak. He's in the in club, right? And now with me, what was my crime? Well, I don't agree with Bibi Netanyahu. I'm not like the scores of other America First conservatives who will fall over themselves and allow Bibi Netanyahu to spit in their figurative faces and speak about America like we are a worthless slave colony that exists only to do the bidding of Bibi Netanyahu, that we have no right to critique anything that he says. You want me to believe that that guy's a victim? I just don't buy it. And so they have been swarming like hornets, and they are hell-bent on making sure that we cannot speak, that we do not make any money. And like I said, I thank God every day for the platform that I have, and while I have it, I am going to awaken the masses, because it's happening to too many Black people for me to be comfortable with. Too many Black artists who are talented, who come out, and when they're existing within a corporation, they're adored and they're applauded. I mean, I'm out there speaking about Black Lives Matter and everything that Black Lives Matter is doing that's wrong, the criminality, the gangs that are operating and pretending that things are about racism when in fact there are valid critiques being launched against these gang members. And that media said, go, Candace. Go, Candace. We love you. We want you to do more of this. We want to fund this. And then those very same people, at the minute that post-October 7th, we were commanded to all pay attention to what was happening overseas. When I said, wait, actually, I don't agree with this many children dying. I don't agree with any of this. Then flipped, did a complete 180, tried to wacko Cando me. Tried to pretend that I'm completely illogical and coming apart. because how dare I question what they assert is the narrative. So that's where we're at. And I think it's important for people to be aware of what's happening in society. And like I said, I will continue to use my platform to speak about that. Guys, as a final throw to American financing, obviously interest rates have dropped, and right now is the perfect time to call my friends at American Financing. They're a family-owned company that is helping financing.net/Owens. I like to credit myself for
waking up,
being so calm and not vitriolic and not commanding people that follow me to attack them in the same way. I do believe that the high road is going to win in the end. When people say, well, why don't you sue the ADL? Why don't you do that? First off, these people have unlimited funds, and that's what they love. They love a courtroom fight. These people love the idea. I mean, you've got judges and you've got DAs. It's funny that Michael Jackson was listing a DA prosecutor they said was after him that are seemingly on people's payrolls now when you see everything that's happened to Donald Trump. And I think the best thing you can do is to use your God-given voice and to use your God-given platform and to continue to build in the end until we all own our own stuff. And that's why I am just
please hit the like button for me.
The show on Locals, because now I am not owned by anybody but the people. That's the truth. And when I let the people down, there will be no more Candace Owens. And until that day happens, they don't really have any power over me. By the way, I wanted to show you guys before we end this episode, this headline. Literally, I just think it was created by ChatGPT. Somebody went to ChatGPT and they said, give me a headline, produce me a headline that will really make Candace Owens angry. And then they said, okay, here it is. And it's a headline from CNN, which you may have seen me tweet earlier, that they have agreed to a temporary ceasefire in Gaza so that they can give them polio vaccines. I'm not kidding. They've decided, after the entire global community has pleaded with them, given the amount of death of Palestinian children, to stop. Well, they said, no. But then, because there's nothing bigger than Big Pharma, they've agreed to pause the infighting in Gaza for polio vaccination. You couldn't get me. I mean, there isn't a sum of money. You could actually offer me $10 billion plus the entire Gaza Strip, and I would not put that vaccine in my arm. Oh, yeah, definitely trust the science here. Definitely inject your children. It confounds the mind. I mean, it just completely boggles the mind here. You don't care to stop so that kids stop being killed in bombs, but you agree to stop because you claim you care about the kids who definitely need the inoculation, that they don't need homes and basic sanitation, but they need an injection. It's an absolute madness. I mean, it's just completely crazy. And I had to show you guys that headline before I jump into your comments regarding this episode. Okay, let's read some of them. I'm going to jump first to the super chats. Dragonfly writes from Norway. It's not dollars, but respect to Candace and Michael. Nicholas Grimmy writes, Candace, thank you for following up on Diddy. By chance, have you ever looked into Jaguar Wright? She's been a whistleblower of Diddy and the industry since 2019. Please watch her interviews on YouTube. No, I have never heard of her, Nicholas, and I will check her out. Amanda Kasperzik writes, I love you so much. I found you a couple of months before they took you off the Daily Wire. You are my source of news that I watch every week. Not all heroes wear capes and speak truth. Thank you so much, Amanda. That's really kind, and I'm always happy that people are finding me wherever they are finding me. And again, I owe my platform to each and every one of you for sharing also my content. Just when you take these links every day, something that you can do to be a Candace warrior is to just share these podcast episodes on your social media channels and tagging me in it too. I also
hit the like button for me.
You guys actually watch it. LA Wizard writes, I mentioned MJ a few weeks ago, and I'm so happy to do an episode with him. Thanks for talking about what really happened with Michael Jackson. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to, because when I learned it, I was really, obviously I was young, but I was disappointed in myself for having believed everything about someone who was, you have no idea what this man meant, especially to Black Americans, and how quickly we allowed the media to allow us to turn our backs on him. The media had power over us to turn our backs on somebody who gifted us with so much. And I won't make that mistake again. That's why I didn't do it.
And because he loved kids.
Didn't do it to Kanye. Because the media has no
We had no idea what...
Valerie writes, Michael wasn't technically my generation, but I've always loved his music, and I have been telling people for years this was all a lie. Good to know I am now not alone on this, though. Chase writes, hey, Candace, thanks for the awakening Thanks for
I
awakening me,
couldn't see
pardon to
him hurting
God and
kids though.
lies. Could you please do a history channel? I feel like that would wake my friends up to the lies as well. I am planning that. I've said this. My goal for next year, it's not a goal, I'm going to make it happen because goal makes it seem like it's like aim a distance. I already tweeted it, so it has to happen. Me and Dave Smith, I want to do a series, 10 to 15 episodes of me and him just discussing various things I think any parent would just want their children to know about things that have happened in this world outside of what they're learning in a classroom, which is pretty much just a fairy tale, believing that we were righteous in every war that we fought and that we absolutely had to give our tax dollars to end it. It's a nonsense, and people need to realize that it's a nonsense and that America has a very checkered history and, in my view, a very checkered future if we don't wake up to it. All right, Rose, lastly, for the super chats, writes, Candace, can you bring Bassem Youssef on your show? Let me be clear. I have tried to get Bassem Youssef on my show. I reached out, mutual friend, said, hey, will Bassem do it? And he never got back to me. I think he big-timed me. I think it was big-timed, but Bassem Youssef. I don't know. So I don't know if you guys
She
have
finally
access
got
to
him,
him. You
I
want to mean
think.
tweet him and be like, hey, why'd you big-time Candace Owens? She's trying to get you on her show because people were saying, Candace, you've had so many Zionist voices. How come you won't have any truly Palestinian voices? Like, you know, you've had Dave Smith talk about Palestine, but why not have an actual Palestinian? And I know actually Bassem Youssef is not Palestinian, right? I think it's his wife that's Palestinian. But I think that he's very respected in the community as a voice to speak about what's happened to his wife's family. I've tried it. I am open, like I said, to speaking to everyone. And I just have not been able to get in touch with him. This person says we may need a reality check. We may need to really know what happened to Whitney Houston. Yes.
Absolutely.
I have peripherally looked into that, and it's tale as old as time in terms of intentionally getting tremendous talents addicted to drugs. And I just am wondering
Is
how many
Clive
times can
Davis,
someone die in a
is
bath
he
in
Jewish?
Hollywood?
I wonder. I need to
Just
look
asking
into
a
that.
question. Just asking questions here. How many times can someone die in a bath? Like, is this like a thing? Like Whitney, her daughter, that guy from Friends, Matt, I can't think of his last name right now, from Friends, who died in a bath. Aaron Carter died in a bath. His last tweet was to Kanye when Kanye said, I'm about to go DEFCON 3. Aaron Carter then tweets, hey, we should link up, when he started talking about Harley Pasternak. And then the next day he died in a bath. I don't know. It's just like, I want to be clear, guys. I do not take baths. Okay? Like, I am a shower girl. Anything happens to me in bath.
Tied to Harvard.
No. Okay? Anyways, you guys, we are going to wrap this. Thank you again. If you can, please go to locals.com and give what you can to support the show. Also know that we are working on a platform in the event that these attacks work and these coordinated harassment campaigns work and they start giving me strikes on YouTube. We are quietly building a platform in the background as well with the money that you guys have donated thus far to Locals. It's been a major pull to get this done. And it's probably going to take a couple more months, and we're going to put a shot in the dark on it. So just give us some time to be patient. And thank you guys. Head to clubcandace.com if you want to buy a Standis cup. Love you, and we will see.
Okay, y'all, let me see. I'm going up looking in the yard. Man, trying to see if Clyde. Not with the last name of Davis, but he could have been converted. Yes, he is Jewish. Clive Davis is Jewish. Jewish parents. Yes, I think. Yep. Hi, Christine. Yep, he is Jewish. Okay, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. I think this was pretty good. I may because I saw some other stuff, so I may chime in. I don't know what else I'm gonna do, but I may pull up some more on Michael Jackson because I saw some stuff the other day. I need to do a little research on. Okay, it seemed like there is a pattern. There is a pattern. Sweet dreams, everybody, and have a good evening. Same to you. We belong to the light. We belong to the light. I like that. Y'all please hit the like button. Going out, if you did not hit it coming in, like, share, subscribe. Get your membership. Okay. Bye. Thank you for the love, Jay Grizzly. Mwah. Good night.